here we are. Welcome back.
I'm doing a birds episode.
Watch him not pick up.
I hope I don't dox him if he says his full name in his voicemail. Wow.
I see how it is.
The Google Fi subscriber you have called is not available. Please leave a message after the tone.
Hey birds, it's me and Swain. We wanted to do a bird style intro where we have a phone call, just chat about life. So give us a call back. We're going to do a podcast and talk to you soon. Have a good week. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, well, that was the intro. Didn't happen. Roll the tapes, Andrew. Roll the sounds. Drop it.
I know it's been a while. Just thought I'd reach out. Tell you everything I couldn't, that's been on my mind. Wrote it down so I can ask you, wait, now what's the line? Had a lot to think about. You and I didn't work it out. Almost made it, but we never really gave it time. Ran the race so we collapsed before the finish line. Hey, I don't know about you, but I get a little lonely too. And I think you should know.
Well. Welcome back to Crucible Radio, the podcast for all things Destiny 2 PvP. It's a normal ass episode, Swain. We're going to talk about Destiny.
We're back. Well, most.
I feel like I just saw you.
Yeah, no, it was only just a few days ago that I was in the great state of California.
So great.
I mean, it snowed today, so I was wearing shorts 3 days ago, and I feel pretty confused and upset and angry and sad.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not even that warm in California right now, but I could tell you were enjoying it not being icy and cold. So
yeah, no, we flew out to California to do some secret stuff.
We recorded a project that we'll not formally announce yet, but you'll know in the next, about a month, 3 weeks from now, you'll find out.
Yeah, it really all depends on how quickly the video editing goes.
Oh, wow. A little multimedia from the Crucible Radio boys.
Not just
a little extra video. Yeah. Wow. A little
really
branching out. And then we also went to Disneyland, and that was fun as hell.
I've been to Disney World, and I've been to all the parks with Kelly and everything. But yeah. I can say that going to Disneyland with you guys was genuinely one of my favorite times in a Disney park.
Yeah. I kind of like went into it thinking, you know what? My girlfriend really wants to do this. Friends are in town. It's the perfect opportunity. I'll just like put on a happy face and walk around, do whatever. And I think we were all in the same energy and just kind of down to do whatever, but also like just having fun, like, you know, goofing around and like laughing at stuff. And it just put me in the right zone where I was down to hang out the whole time. And like, it was fun. We went on some goofy rides, ate a ton of like awful, but like delicious food.
Yeah.
Dole Whip. I've never had that before. That changed my life.
I definitely, like, I had done the whole 30 thing before this, and I was ready to just ruin my body.
Yeah.
In Disneyland. So
no, I did not care for myself too much, but I tried to count the like 12,000 steps we took as some sort of
it helps. That's for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, it was really fun. And there's like a crazy dance party that happens in Disneyland now. Just you'll have to see it for yourself if anyone goes. But it was like a wild good time, and we had fun.
Yeah. So I mean, we spent some time talking about the podcast and working on some podcast things, some Patreon stuff while we were there. It wasn't just all Disney, and it wasn't all NASA. And
it wasn't all work either. I think like one of the highlights was like, You got in on Sunday. Your wife had some friends to meet up in LA, which is good. And Birds came over to my place, and like the three of us just like chilled. And I realized it then, but it was the first time we had just hung out without having a show to do the next day, like a recording that had to happen that night.
Oh, and also like we didn't have to go to like a Guardian Con or like, oh, we're all leaving on a plane tomorrow. Or
there's like no rush. There's no like, oh, we have to go to this bar tonight to see people and stuff, like, and all those things are awesome, but it's like the only times we've been in the same place we've had some sort of like schedule or agenda, and this was truly just like chilling. That was like a great feeling. And you guys both had Zanku for the first time. Shout out to Zanku.
Yeah, it was good.
Good chicken. But you know what? We've talked about our personal lives and our personal selves for the last 3 weeks on the podcast. And Swain, you're going to have to put the money laundering talk aside this week, or whatever it is you do, because we're going to talk about Destiny, and it's about time we get back to it, right?
Shout out to everyone on the playbook listening right now. They're like, oh, they're finally back.
Yeah. Well, I didn't post anything on Reddit to not bother them because I knew they'd be like, why is this on Reddit? And I agreed, so I didn't put it there. But we're back. We're going to talk Destiny. And what better time to do it than a day after Season of the Drifter is formally announced. We've got the Vidoc, we've got the TWAB, and we've got a pretty lengthy IGN podcast that
just a little cherry on top that was.
Yeah, more of the stuff. And a lot of info to cover, at least about Gambit, that's for sure.
Classically, this comes out the day before the Season of Drifter.
Yes, perfect. Always down to release a podcast about a video game the day before new content happens, so that for the next 7 days, someone listens to us go like, I wonder what will happen, while they already know the answer.
Literally 1 day of like, well, we don't know. So
yeah. But sorry, but no, this is what we have to deal with, folks. At least we got some TWAB. Sometimes we don't even have that.
Yeah, I mean, so this kind of felt like we're going back to like Curse of Osiris, when it like kind of snuck up on you. It's like, oh, whoa, actually there's like a DLC thingy.
There's a thing happening. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I was looking forward to it, but needless to say, I am very busy right now. Like work has really ratcheted up. We've got a lot of big projects coming up, and I've kind of just been, focusing on that, and just to be like at work all week and be like, oh, wait, what? There's a Vidoc coming out there? Oh, cool. And like, I couldn't even watch it when I usually watch these things when they first come out, but it was probably like 8 hours after it came out that I kind of was able to sit down finally and be like, okay, time to watch this thing and really get a feel for what's coming next week.
Yeah. It was weird that they sort of had nothing to say a couple weeks ago, and we were like, the new season starts soon, doesn't it? But they went big with it now. You
want to address this? You want to kind of give us a little hint?
Well, let's start with the first big thing. We've got Gambit Prime. We knew Gambit changes were coming. Lars and Robbie told us their very selves that we'd be experiencing some big changes. And this one seems pretty significant. There's some shifts in how Gambit functions, just the base version, right? Like the third round is a sudden death boss kill, basically.
Primeval Rush, I think is what they called it.
Yeah, and Deej mentioned that you get juiced up before that round. So it sounds like, if you burn your super trying to win round 2 and it goes to sudden death, you're not screwed. I assume that means everyone gets a supercharge and maybe some power ammo and stuff, which is fun because I think definitely one of my struggles with Gambit was not that I disliked the mode or how it played, was just like the simple time it took for me to grind out 40 games for Breakneck. They're longer games. So I think both default Gambit and Gambit Prime are meant to be a little shorter with this change.
Yeah, and I mean, there's some other background changes. There's some little things that they're tweaking to Gambit, like they're adding more invader spawns. They're doing some other changes.
Oh, yeah.
They're really kind of shaking up the game mode. And, it kind of always got me that, like, I love Gambit. I love playing Gambit. And it was always just a shame that it kind of like hit the ground and rubbed people the wrong way because of like some of the meta. If it evolved fast and it evolved really hard, and it became like, for some people, it just came a game mode they didn't really care about or wanted to enjoy. When leading up to that, like when we were playing at Guardian Con and when the summit happened and all that, Gambit was like the hypest thing because no one had linear fusions. And it really, like, the meta was narrowed and there was not much for you to play with in those modes. So it felt like much more than it ended up being. And, with anything, the community will beat the hell out of it and find all of the, the kinks in the armor, some might say.
Yeah, and just the fact that it's a PvE activity, I would say a majority of the game, even compared to the times there's invaders, like that's a solvable thing. And that's just the nature of the thing. Like that's how you get raid speedruns and boss melting and strikes. It's a solvable problem.
It's
you
been
know the answer, you know the
since
spawns.
The dawn of time, people breaking the game, not even just Destiny, but like, going back to Mario, how can I break this to speedrun it in 5 minutes? So.
And at the very least, just memorizing the exact point at which I jump to knock on this Goomba's head. You know the exact place to stand and to kill an invader spawns. Or etc. Yeah,
like I can stand in one spot and I could see almost all 3 spawns on some maps and be like, okay, if they spawn up, I can take them out in literally half a second. Not even like they just
so
there.
We don't have much info on how the pace of the game changes, how this primeval burn will work, and really much about Gambit Prime, besides like you can steal moats. But I think just as a quality of life thing, the multiple spawn points for invaders, such a simple change. A lot of people requested it. It's a great move, and I think that will do more to shake up Gambit than anything else. That's my quick prediction right now. But it's good to know because you play with with some experienced Gambit players and it's stand 2 feet away, snipe the invader the second he shows up, go melt a boss, problem solved. And then this is going to mix it up a lot just to break up that monotony. It's a good move.
And I mean, like they also like we can just kind of go right into it, but like the Gambit Prime thing is pretty cool. It's I've listened to a lot of feedback from people about the game mode in general, as far as Gambit goes, and hearing that there's going to be like just this one round thing and it's going to be like intense and it's going to take some team building, like how Gambit felt at first. And even sometimes like in Crucible, you'd be like, okay, we're going to have different roles. And they're really hitting home on those roles for this mode.
I want to talk about the roles because these are cool. These are like my these are my dream in competitive games, and it's why when Overwatch came out, we talked about it so much. And when Cap was on the show, he actually has terms like when I figured out I'm a zone control player, like that kind of role on the team. Oh, I love it. I love having the identity so that I can know my strengths through that simple terminology. And of course, every player is diverse. Every player can kill a PvE enemy or get a wipe on an invasion once in a while. But knowing those roles and having them set and knowing you push for that role specifically gives you an identity and lets you play to your own strengths a lot more. And I think this is the things I'm most excited to see how this works. So we've got 4 new roles in Gambit Prime. And of course, you get to experience the fullness of this once you collect a big long armor set. I'm sure it'll be quite the grind. Who knows? But basically, there's 4 roles. We've got the Reaper, and this is the green one. And it's like slay them all, kill all the enemies when they show up. Hammers are popped, 15 motes laying on the ground as quickly as possible. That's cool. Yeah. Collector runs and picks up those motes. I guess they have an important role. I trust that they're all important, but
sometimes like your Reaper isn't always going to be collecting. in most cases.
Sometimes I want to use like broadsword and shoot at a distance and not really move my feet much. So I still get lots of kills, but it's like, oh, I'm not going to go pick that stuff up. Someone's already over there.
Hopefully that guy with the white armor over there picks all that stuff up.
Yeah. And then they can play their loadout a bit differently, have a shotgun to melt a yellow bar or something like that too. Then you've got the sentry. The sentry is about protecting the center. What's that thing? The
bank.
The bank. Yeah, the bank. It was too simple. It wasn't a weird space word. I couldn't think of it. But yeah, to kill the Taken and stuff that shows up around there, and also be the invader counter, which is cool.
Sure. The cool thing about the sentry though is like it's going to be, so on the surface it feels like an unimportant role, but apparently if you have two or more than two blockers on your bank, you'll start losing moats in the Gambit Prime.
Yeah.
So it's important to keep it all clear, and that it's a small thing, but it encourages that kind of, all right, well, we're going to leave you here. You just focus on keeping this clear for us so we can bank.
Yeah, that's funny because I think like, the common knowledge in Gambit now is like, don't save up 15 moats just to get picked off by a queen breaker, like just dump moats. And a lot of teams will do that first 5 rush, like dump 3 or 4 small guys, like get the phalanx over there right away. And that's fine because 4 phalanx aren't hard to kill, especially with a single grenade doing AoE.
They're changing up what the different blockers are too.
True.
It's going to be a Taken Knight instead of an Ogre. Was it also, no, not Taken Knight.
There's a Captain now, which is going to be annoying.
Which is the worst Taken.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but it's easy to clear out those smaller enemies. But if everyone is over, like off to the left, picking up moats, doing whatever, and 4 get dropped, like they'll die fast. But if you're farther away, they can still suck your moats. So a sentry actually should be there, even if it's an easy time clearing some small guys, because it's pretty easy to get 3 taken things over there, like no problem. So yeah, the sentry will have a role. And I also think what's interesting. Oh, and by the way, the collector, we said they're not that important, but they can carry 20 moats and drop in something bigger.
Yep.
That's some serious risk reward.
That's pretty cool.
But if Queenbreaker has not double the aim assist of other guns
by accident,
maybe it'll be doable. But yes, so the sentry plays a role too, because the invader, obviously, invade, get 4 kills, but they can actually suck more moats out if they stand near the bank.
Yep.
So that I think is very interesting too, because what I immediately thought of, I was like, well, standing in the center, that's like not the best spot to invade. You kind of want to, use cover as you get close and stay on the edge and pick them off, and plus you don't want to get in the middle of all that like PvE crap. But then I thought about those teams that like hide in the spawn and are just like, oh, we're being invaded. Nah, I'm good. And they sit way back there and it takes you 30 seconds just to run over there and try to shoot one.
Run up, steal all their moats.
Yeah. So that strategy, that sit and spawn, which kind of like stuck out as like, oh, I want to put like an invisible barrier here or something like that. That stuck out to me when Gambit first dropped. Bad move now, because if it's an actual invader with the red glow, they'll just take all your moats. So I like that move a lot. I think that's going to shift up the invasion experience too.
The other part of the invader perk is it locks the bank like you are a blocker. Because like if you invade the block, nothing happens to the bank. But you are the blocker. You are the Taken at that point. So.
Yeah, and I like these unique perks for each of them. Like I said, it's probably some kind of grind to get the full armor set, but I really do like that it pushes your skills. It's almost like having a tactical ability in Apex. Whoops, talked about a different game.
We haven't started a jar for Apex yet, but I think we're probably gonna need to.
Apex jar right next to the very full Overwatch jar. You know what? All that Overwatch stuff I learned helped my game in Destiny a lot. So everybody chill. I know we're the only ones talking about that years after that joke started. But hey, I'm not over it. Now I'm over it. I've said my piece. Overwatch jar. So yeah. Well, so what else is here? We got the Reckoning, Invitations of the Nine.
In the Vidoc, they kind of mention there's like a loop between Gambit Prime and the Reckoning, and playing Gambit Prime gets you synths, and you jam synths into a bank in Reckoning to make a moat. It seems like it'll make more sense when the game actually shows you.
Yeah, once you've got the notification on your screen, like, oh, sure, I'll just go do this.
Yeah, so like, well, I'll see how it goes, but they're really trying to avoid that day one stuff that happened with the Forge, where like, oh, well, we're here. Fortunately, none of you can play it because you're not leveled up enough. So they even added those catch-up bounties to the game so that you can go to the Drifter and really accelerate your light level increase so that you can reach 640.
When you said ketchup, I knew exactly what you meant, but I heard it like the condiment, and now I'm just picturing them as ketchup bounties.
Just handing out ketchup.
Ketchup packets. But yeah, that's a smart idea. You know what? Like, hot take, the power level system doesn't make any sense in this sort of like live game, games as a service thing. Like, the power level is for playing a long campaign where each level gets harder because you play levels. Like, anytime after that, I'm only sort of irritated that I have to worry about my power level. And honestly, like, I spent a good long time in Forsaken setting up some really specific armor builds on all three characters. And when I found out I just had to once again put on some crap that I got because it was highest light, like, I don't enjoy playing like that. I don't enjoy going into activity with an awful setup just because I need the power level.
Also, the alternative is to just burn through all of your enhancement cores. So like,
yes,
it's either destroy everything you've worked to build in as far as enhancement cores go, or you wear crappy armor until you reach a level.
Yeah, or go really slow and deal with that for weeks. I'm not a fan, and I'm also not a fan of it in Iron Banner. It's a weird feature.
Yeah, well, Iron Banner is getting some love this time around too. It looks like, as far as Iron Banner goes, you're going to have the ability to handicap yourself in some way. You get to alter your light levels so that you can go in and be under-leveled. That sort of buff or debuff is going to give you a chance at like different rewards, maybe some cosmetics. It'll happen at a higher cadence. They'll come faster than if you had not. And also there's going to be an emblem that tracks how many kills you get while under the Iron Burden. That's what it's called, Iron Burden. So,
you know what? Everyone's going to do that, and there'll be 12 people in a game, and they'll all be on the Iron Burden, level. And I'll do the one that's the buff. And I'll just be super strong, and I won't care about the loot.
That actually sounds pretty fun, to be honest.
Yeah, I like the idea of just playing, like, making your own version of Juggernaut.
Yeah.
While everyone uses this perk. Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. I know Iron Banner from the very, very beginning was about actually going in with your strongest stuff, like Trials was once upon a time as well. But I feel like the game has grown out of it to some extent. So if it's more of a mechanic like this, and it's more of a choice where you still use your preferred gear but can choose to go to a lower power, then maybe that'll play a little bit better and still sticks to the nature of Iron Banner. But just having to use crappy loadouts because you want that other loot is rough. I'm not about that insane grind anymore. And Black Armory had some grind.
Yeah, and it's still not like completely done with it. So it's like, it's a daunting to look at some of this stuff and say, oh well, not especially like, we said it right before this, but the Invitations of the Nine part of this is going to kind of be like the Queen's Court in Forsaken and how it went on forever. And you'd have to do the thing to access it every single week. And if you didn't, you missed it. And it's like, you can always look it up on YouTube. But
I'm like I hope Mylan made a video about this because I'm not doing that.
Please, Mylan, please just make a video about this so I don't have to go and do the oh man, what was it called in Dreaming City?
The well.
The well. I don't want to do the well this week.
I think I was actually on Destiny. Like I was logged in playing Crucible or something, and someone said like, "Yo, Queen like says some crazy stuff this week. You should go check it out." And I look at my directory and I realize that means like doing that weekly bounty, and I was like, nah. And I was like I'm playing Destiny, but I still didn't want to go do that.
I can't tell you. I don't think I even looted all of the lost sectors on the Dreaming City.
Yeah, you keep seeing those bounties. You're like, do that one. I'm like, which one is that? Did I do that one? Dreaming City is like cool and crazy, but just to do it week after week, it's tough. That's a cool thing, like this developing story. I'm just happy the internet exists and someone else can upload it if I can't do that every week.
So this season also is going to come with its own title and its own triumph associated with the title. And I just recently, like right before I left for California, I got my Dredgen pin in the mail.
Ooh.
And it's so sweet. It's like, I've got a lot of Destiny crap, and some of it truly is crap. It is just like a plastic piece of something or other. But this is probably one of the nicest rewards things I've purchased through Bungie. It's hefty. It comes in a nice like jewelry type box. It's like got the logo of whatever the Triumph medal is on the top. So it's really cool. And I looked at it and I was like, okay, well, how much do I have left on the other ones? And logged into Destiny, took a look, and I was like, ooh, I'm not getting any of the other ones.
Yeah, no.
So I'm looking at this upcoming season and saying, okay, if the logo's cool and the triumphs aren't terrible, like really hard to do, maybe I'll give it a shot. Maybe I'll go after this one because it'd be nice to have another Gambit, themed one to throw on my shelf. So,
and you won't have to do a raid flawless because there is no raid.
Yeah.
So maybe you can do that.
I mean, like you posted something the other day, Bones. Like I genuinely have a love-hate relationship with these titles because the part of me that is completionist and someone that is like really does love Destiny and loves being a part of it. It's just so daunting to look at some of these things and be like, wow, really? I do a Crucible podcast and I am nowhere near to ever having the Unbroken Medal. Like,
it's so much work.
I don't even think at this point there's enough seasons for me to do it before they change things up. So maybe, I don't know. I just like, it's just PC is just, that is not something I think that is a mountain that I don't think I am ready to climb.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's a tough spot right now. I don't have any titles, and it's just like at this point, I got to grind EP. Like, no thanks. I don't want to do Escalation Protocol because I've already put hours into it trying to get those guns. Yeah, like I've already done the attempt. Like I have played hours trying to get the sniper, but it doesn't drop. So it feels like a lost cause. But I'm hoping that they've learned from Black Armory and learned from Forsaken too, even though that did bring so much life to the game, that going forward we can have like truly reasonable expectations for a game, even though we want that hobby. We want the grind, but not to kill ourselves.
Yeah. No, I don't want to spend that much time.
Okay, well, look, before we share some more thoughts about the game right now, we have a little message. This is about the things that support the show, that keep it going, but it's not an ad read. we just have a little message. Because in order to support our show, we'll need the help of some great advertisers. And in order to find great advertisers, we'll need to learn a little bit more about you, the listeners. So do this for me real quick. Go to podsurvey.com/crucible. Take a quick anonymous survey, and that'll help us get to know you a little bit better. And that way we can show advertisers just how great our listeners are. And once you've completed the survey, you can choose to enter for a chance to win a $100 Amazon gift card. Terms and conditions apply, but $100 on Amazon, you can literally buy anything, I think. Literally anything on the internet.
I think that's the theme of Amazon. Everything is $100 or less.
You'll find something you like. Yeah, I'm sure of it. But again, that's podsurvey.com/crucible. And that's going to help out the show. And it'll help out you. Listen to ads that are more suited to what you might want. Anyways, thanks.
podsurvey.com/crucible, CRUCIBLE.
So, Swain, we're back. You were just on vacation. We've not had much news about this game. We got this big info dump, at least about, what we're going to learn about, right? Like, we don't know the full extent, and for good reason. I like that they're not spoiling it for us. There's not this hour-long stream of all the new content, right?
Or like 4 straight weeks of them streaming.
Yeah, right. Like I said, hey, it's 3 weeks out. Are you guys going to tell us anything? But on the flip side is just seeing it all. And I remember Rise of Iron. I mean, that was announced at E3. It was months of looking at Rise of Iron stuff. I feel like we knew the game front and back. But when it comes to doing a podcast, it's we have so much to talk about. But at the same time, we are we're the podcast for all things Destiny PvP. And we got to admit that there's not a lot happening for the PvP side of the game. And we wanted to chat a little bit about that just because, hey, our listeners listen for PvP talk, and we want to play the Crucible, and we want it to be fresh. We know that these live updates, these seasons, right? This is the new annual pass format. They have to make a decision of priority, and they've done so with Gambit, which was a new thing. It was hype as fuck, like you said, when it first came out, but it needed some depth, right? And now we're getting all that depth. It's a huge improvement on a very, cool new part of the game for sure. Yeah. But at the same time, it's don't you want some PvP stuff? We didn't even get any new maps except for I think one PlayStation one at Forsaken. And we just want to say that we feel that too. And I know there's people out there that want their favorite part of the game to get the same attention as it has in the past, right?
Yeah, I mean, very much in the past, we've gone through these lulls or downtimes between content releases, and we've really personally, I've always just ended up back at PvP because that's where it is always the freshest. Almost every encounter is this is a brand new experience than before. And PvP kind of held everything over between those big drops. And there was always we got some new maps from this, this drop. Usually 3, and we would get 3 of them each time. So having this lack of change, I mean, even there's some sandbox things coming, but definitely not as big as in the past. And sandbox changes are what shake things up the most, outside of the addition of new weapons and maybe some, the maps themselves play differently, but.
Yeah. Well, and we used to get used to. I don't. Maybe one's coming, and the second I post this podcast, but the remakes of the old D1 maps. Yeah, that was the best feature of year one. Let's be real. When Burnout showed up, that was so cool. And then we got Bannerfall back. It's an awesome experience. and Pantheon as well, right? Like we've had 3, and those are very well received additions to the game, and they're fun maps, and they play really well because they're the best ones from D1, and D1 had some bangers. So like that felt good. That was that life experience that I wanted. Like I just want one new map, like throw it into the rotation.
Yeah,
and it's been a little while since then. I also think that just generally speaking, that the news about Trials did kind of hit at a weird time. It was a bummer to not know that, or to hear that there was not even a game plan, right? Like I know there's a game plan in secret, but
I think at this point I could talk openly about it, but like at the summit, like I was almost a year ago at this point. A little under it, but at the summit, we all kind of sat in the same room. We all talked about what the game needed and what we were expecting and what was coming up. Obviously, we had the hype of having seen all of the new content. And there's distinctly remember a moment when we all talked about Trials. And when this happened, it was in a bad place. It was just not good. And I'm sure very little people were playing it, and the resounding theme in the room was like, they were like, hey, we know Trials is big, but would you rather see it go into go back in the oven and just completely come out for a little while, and we focus on making the game for the way you guys want it, for the hobby, and really focus on the community and really focus on these things that we think are up higher in the priority, because they really made it seem like if they're going to do Trials again, it's going to take a lot of effort, and it's going to have to be completely gutted to make it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with that. Like
everyone in the room said yes. Like that is what we wanted.
And I don't want, calm down with the whole like put Trials of Osiris in D2, right? Like no, like we're not gonna glue the old D1 system into a new game all of a sudden just to like have it in the meantime. Like I get it. I want to play Trials right now too, but that's silly. It took the wind out of the sails a little bit to know it's going to be a long time. But if it's going to be a long time, I am excited for whatever big way it comes back. And I hope it's big. I hope it fucking shows up like Apex and changes Twitch, right? I want the hot thing all of a sudden to be like this new Trials. Like it's back. It's huge. It's different. It's not Trials of Osiris. It's not Trials of the 9. It's a new Trials of the something else, but I want it to be fresh and I want it to be exciting. But I'm down for that weekend hobby to come back. But of course they've got to do it crazy. They've got to do it big, and they've got to do it fresh. And who knows? It'll be a battle royale. Everyone will love it. For me,
there was always like there's a bit of rose-colored glasses on the whole situation. Like, we obviously very much enjoyed Trials. We played it often. A lot of good memories in that. But looking back on it, like towards the end of D1, not even towards the end, but like, towards like the middle, there was always just, you saw the same people doing it every single week. They were probably just, doing some Trials carries. It was always like, there was always a complaint about it. Like, oh, sniping off the revive.
Complaining about the map choice.
Yeah. Like, oh, can't we just have a different map? Or when they switch things up, they would be complaining about the switch up. Or, oh, this is the big map. Like, that's the worst. Or when Spooky Trials came, like that, like it really, no one remembers those things. Like they really like just, and the best thing about the Trials from year one is because it was part of Destiny 1. And that was like just like a whole nother moment in time, like where everybody was there. Everybody was part of this big thing as it happened. They just remember how many people were playing. They remember all of that. And the game is much different nowadays. It's tailored to how everybody really, all the input was there. It's been changed around a lot. It's a much different game now, but it'll never have that like new car smell of Destiny 1 that like the people really enjoyed. And looking back on it, it's like, you can't recreate that. Like, you're not going to be able to just like, oh, well, brand new game. Like, hope you're all like on board. That's like, especially nowadays, like how things change so fast on like Twitch and all that. Like, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to create that without just doing a brand new game.
Yeah, for sure. The update process and the development process will forever be lost on most people on the internet who aren't game devs.
It'll be a battle royale.
Yeah, let's just do it, man. And like, part of this frustration, it's, not even frustration, just like wanting, I guess, is that honestly, I mean, you mentioned sandbox changes. I would drop another hot take right here and say the sandbox is the best it's been in a long ass time. We might be at a fucking peak. We might be at the
it's not changing
best.
Much.
Right. And like, it's little things now because don't mess with it too much. I mean, we've got a shotgun change coming soon. The max range on shotguns and the rate of fire will be slowing down. I think that's going to be fine. I think shotguns will still be good in good hands. I think shotguns will still be good in dumb hands. And it's going to be great, but maybe something else can squeeze in there, have a place. Maybe snipers won't be so hard pressed to actually get ammo and make shots. Maybe SMGs will do something. I'm excited to see that. Recently, we had Nova Warp get ground into the dust. That's a little harsh, but that's okay. It was very strong. And we've got the Wraith. I'm in Apex again. The Wraith boys slicing around. And that's maybe still on the annoying side, but even that was toned down. And right now, the sandbox is in possibly one of the best places it's ever been in. Most weapons feel good. Scouts are still trying to, get a little more attention. The last word is in there and it didn't destroy anything, right? Like nothing broke completely. There's a lot of good options. And I don't know. The sandbox is strong. Everyone has something to hate about every single version of every meta. And there's always going to be the strongest because metas don't disappear and that's how they work. But generally, we're in a pretty solid spot. And I think the bummer is that there's not new stuff getting people excited, getting people motivated to go play comp. Yeah. And instead, I'm not doing my Unbroken because the idea of sitting in queue for hours playing comp for the next couple months, I can't do it. But
the appeal of PvP is always that it's like, it's not a grind. It's not the addition to the game. It's not the hobby, really. It's just jump in, play this for a little while, enjoy those, fast twitch mind games that you're playing over and over again. And maybe you get a cool kill streak, you save a clip. It's not, hey, hang out in the blind well and do this 100 times for a chance at a ghost or chasing after a title. It's really just, it's very much like battle royales in that like the appeal is you can start it and you can just stop it and nothing has changed. You're not like, you're not coming out the other side being like, well, I hope I grinded enough tonight to get the thing. And I don't know, maybe that's what's missing to me. And Trials was like that too. You're just like, brand new thing. Let's go get a new ticket. Let's get at it. Like,
yeah. I had a tweet a couple weeks ago that if I do say so myself, it was pretty good. But I compared Trials to a battle royale, and the feeling is the same. And I just realized this, but it's always been there. And it's just drop in, try to get as far as you can, right? In Destiny, it's over the course of multiple shorter games. In a battle royale, it's just one big game. But the thing remains. There's that many people out there online right now, and you've got to beat them all to get to the end. You might get lucky. It might be the right time of day. It might be the right people you run into. But if it doesn't work, you go back, you get another ticket, you drop in again. That feeling is fun. And that feeling is why battle royales are such a success. But yeah, so it's like the feeling is there. It's a good feeling. And it's that pull to bring you back in. And sometimes a new loadout can do that for me. Like when I fell in love with Fighting Lion, it was enough to not do any of my milestones and just like play the Crucible and get clips or goof around with Fighting Lion. And that really pulled me in. But I totally see that also like gear does it too. Those pinnacle rewards, like that did it for a lot of people for a really long time, but it's not going to persist till the end of days, especially once you get a pinnacle weapon, you no longer chase the pinnacle weapon.
Yeah.
There's not more to do. At least there's new armor sets, right? That's very good. We needed some new armor sets. Speaking of pinnacle weapons, maybe we should finish this episode by talking about the 3 new ones, because, hey, I'm down for fancy weapons, and this is something I will tune in and grind for, because so far those pinnacle weapons have been pretty fun and pretty rewarding. And there's 3 pretty cool ones happening now.
Yeah, no, they're going to have the same sections of the game that you're going to chase them in. You're going to play Gambit. You're going to do some Vanguard stuff. You're going to do some Crucible if you're going to be after it. And obviously probably going to be tied to a bounty where you got to do something crazy ridiculous with an SMG over and over and over again. But the first one and the most important to us is the Recluse.
Yes. I just realized I'll have to use an SMG probably. What SMG am I going to use?
A Viced one? I don't know.
Risk Runner, baby.
Antiope?
I'm getting another one of those 7th columns. I do have an Antiope in my vault, low key.
Risk Runner is a good choice here.
It is very good. But yeah, Recluse looks cool. It's a Viced. We haven't seen a Viced weapon in a long time. And so what's this perk? It kills with any weapons, improve this weapon's damage for a short time. So it's like Rampage, but get it on anything. That's pretty cool.
That'd be a nice pair with Thorn.
Oh my God.
We didn't
down for Thorn.
Talk about Thorn all that much, but it's coming back so fast. It's
very, very funny that sick reveal trailer dropped for the last word, and it did the little Thorn teaser at the end, and it was like within seconds I forgot about the last word, and I was like, oh man, I could do with some Thorn.
I hope it's
I'm
nasty.
excited for that.
Make it nasty, please.
We'll see. The other one is the Gambit one. It's the 21% Delirium. It's a rapid fire machine gun, so this will be the first of its archetype. So it's back to the bullet hose, which we haven't seen in since a long time, since the old Destiny 1. This one's nasty too. Kills increase this weapon's damage until it is stowed or reloaded.
Man,
first thing I think of is like the ghostly thralls, which count as a kill. And I'm like, this is going to destroy some bosses. But I like machine guns in PvP a lot right now. And
you know what? This one will be really good for the PvE content in Season of the Drifter.
For sure.
The whatever it's called, the rush thing that they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, it absolutely. It's going to be a monster in PvE. But machine guns recently got their total ammo reduced a bit from the power ammo boxes. So for a bit, machine guns were monstrous. Now they're just another really, really strong choice. So I think this one kind of fits in right there and makes the most out of that lesser ammo, which you can do currently with a rampaged machine gun. This one's just way more forgiving because you don't have to rush to the next kill and make sure rampage is still stacked. So that'll be good. I can see that being good as long as the bullet hose is okay to control.
Yeah.
And the last one from the Vanguard is the Oxygen SR3, an Omelon scout rifle, precision archetype. I forget what rate of fire that means. But the unique perk is Mega Neura, which is that Dragonfly deals more damage based on the number of precision hits made beforehand. We won't know if this is a PvP strength until someone tests it and we know exactly what that means damage-wise. Will it just be a legendary Polaris Lance? I don't know. Is Maybe. Polaris Lance secretly one of my favorite exotics in the game, even in PvP? Yeah. Yes, it is.
It's a great gambit weapon too.
Yeah. Oh, I just love that gun. Precision is the harder hitting ones, right? Like, blah. I wish guys, my mind is not fresh here. And I don't have any scout rifles on dim right now.
Oh, God. Yeah, you could just pull out the Braytech. That's kind of like
no, the high impact ones are called high impact frames.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that this is not the highest rate of fire. So maybe more precision shots because you would land more in a kill. Will do a significant explosion. Dragonfly is not a go-to Crucible perk by any means, but it can be fun and it can occasionally result in some kills. Ace of Spades can prove that, even if it's a souped up version. So I think all three of these are appealing. I think the SMG is the one to watch because I don't know. I think it makes a bold claim about shaking up the meta, but we know that one pinnacle gun certainly can.
Yep,
not forgotten.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. These are something I'm gonna grind for right away. I mean, I'll probably do the Recluse soon, even if I'm not gonna put thousands of hours into this season like I did when Forsaken dropped. I think these are good, and honestly, like even though Claymore was like in a weird zone, the way they adjusted these systems and the way they added more to the other parts of the game. Beautiful update for Destiny 2. Thumbs up from me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. Comes out tomorrow.
Yeah, right. I guess everyone knows the answer to this unless they listen to it the day it drops.
Yeah, no, I'm hopeful with this release to see where they're going and the direction that they're taking things. There's a bit in the Vidoc where they really hint at some future stuff. And
if Luke Smith shows up, you know there's some future stuff.
Yeah, no, Luke Smith showed up and he really like they just out and said like we're now an independent studio and we're hoping that changes things. And you can kind of see like they talk about how they're getting ready to release faster. And I don't know what that means, but it would be nice if it was like, if we got this clip of like a pace that just like content came out very quick and not so much like this type of stretch content, but I'm thinking like, you know, they're doing patches faster. They're doing, you know, new, bigger things faster, just kind of accomplishing things on their own terms, rather than trying to push for these big Activision planned releases. So,
yeah, not about hitting numbers, but about finding what the core community wants. And hey, can't complain.
Yeah. So,
by the way, I did the research. A precision frame scout rifle is the 180 rounds per minute archetype. For example, Nameless Midnight. There you go.
Yeah,
I figured it out.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how things go going forward. But Destiny is in good hands. That's for sure.
Yeah. Excited for the future. In it for the long haul as usual. I wonder what Birds is up to right now.
You want to call him again?
Yeah, let's end the show so we can call him, see what's going on.
All right.
As always, check out the Patreon. We do a bonus podcast twice a month. It's $1 per episode.
And like we said up top, we got some like a really cool video thing.
Yeah, and anything that happens with us, the Patreon knows first. So be sure to be in the loop. And you know what? If you like us, it's more of us. And we like sharing with you more about ourselves and our lives like we did for the past 3 weeks on the main show. If you hated those, well, here you go.
Tough pinkies.
Listen to this episode, I guess. And otherwise, that's it.
See you next week.
Sayonara.
And I think you should know, can't let you go. No, I can't let you go. Hey, I don't know if it's true, but sometimes I think about you too. I'm sending X's and O's, X's and O's, X's and O's.
Folks, we got music. You know we got music, and this week, the music that we got is from Danny, spelled DNNY. Danny, all caps, you know it. This was produced by, of course, our one and only Mr. Engineer Andrew. New project of his. He's got range. Anyways, go give it a listen. Go check it all out. It's available on Spotify. Just search for Danny, DNNY. And hey, if you're a musician and you want to be heard on Crucible Radio, send us an email, crucibleradio@gmail.com. In fact, send us an email for any reason, crucibleradio@gmail.com.
Cause your strings will stop the show. 3, 2, 1, and you better be gone. You better be gone. Hey, I don't know about you, but I get a little lonely too. Hey, I'm sending X's and O's, X's and O's, X's and
Hello everyone, Swain here. You know that Crucible Radio is your source for all things Destiny PvP, and I know you want more than just this video, so make sure to head on over to crucibleradio.com to find all of our past episodes, detailed Crucible maps, t-shirts, and much, much more.